Let me offer some humble advice.
What you're about to watch is a powerful advice from Pastor Randy Skeete to all Seventh-day Adventists. You may disagree with him, but I believe that what he said about the SDA church or about Adventists was the truth. It was the truth, friends. So let's go ahead and listen to his powerful advice to all Seventh-day Adventists. And after that, I have something important to share. Okay, so let's get into the video without wasting much time.
Let me offer some humble advice. Study the Bible. Please understand why you're Seventh-day Adventist. You're not simply a church that goes to church on Saturday rather than Sunday. For many of us, that's the only difference. No. This church was raised up to preach a message no other church preaches. What's that message? The 300 message. God raised it up specifically to make that the central theme of its preaching. All of that would include victory over sin, the intercession of Christ, the divinity of Christ, the humanity of Christ, the divinity of the Holy Spirit, the perpetuity of God's law, it has never been canceled, the central role of the Sabbath, all of that should characterize the preaching of God's people. Satan's original charge against God, according to Revelation from Ellen White, is that God's law cannot be kept. It's impossible to keep this law. That was his charge. He came down, got Adam and Eve to fall, to prove, among other things, see, I told you, your law cannot be kept. Look, Jesus came after thousands of years to show the law can be kept. Are you following me? Now, Jesus demonstrated in his life the law can be kept perfectly. But in the Jewish system, for something to be accepted as reliable, there must be at least two witnesses. In the mouth of two or three, every word shall be established. So Jesus can say, I kept the law perfectly. What do you think Satan will say? I need another witness. Because your system requires two. If you, Jesus, say the law can be kept perfectly, you did it in your life, is there another witness? That other witness has to be the church. Through the power of Christ, we must demonstrate before God comes, we can live in harmony with Christ's law. Through the power of Christ, I said. When that occurs, Christ comes. So our mission is to show the world God's law can be kept perfectly. Thus showing Satan to be what? A liar, and God to be true. When we live in constant violation of the law, whose side are we supporting? Satan. So Satan looks at God and says, you see, Randy Skeete, see, I told you, your law can't be kept. Look at his brother, the law can't be kept. Look at her, the law can't be kept. Look at him, this is fifth wife, the law can't be kept. Now there are few who are faithful, and God says, you see her? My law can be kept. My law can be kept. My law can be kept. You pick the side you want to be on. It's not just your life. It is the effect on God if we're faithful or unfaithful. But we as human beings, we think of us. But God is thinking universally. You see, angels don't understand everything. They don't. Because they're created. That's why when God told Moses to make the ark, the mercy seat was made of one piece of gold. The angels were made from the same piece. They're facing each other but looking down. What are they looking at? How justice and mercy work together. That's the gospel. There's the law in the ark, the mercy seat above. How can a just God forgive sinners? They don't fully understand. That's in Ephesians chapter 3, verse 9. And to make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery, which from the beginning of the world had been hidden in God, who created all things by Jesus Christ, to the intent that unto principalities and powers in the heavenly places might be known by the church the manifold works of God. As the gospel works in us, angels learn. The gospel is unfolded to them through us. So in a certain sense, we can mislead the angels based on how we live our lives. There are unfallen worlds where people have never sinned. God has to prove to them that Satan was wrong. Because Colossians 1 verse 20 tells us the blood of Christ reconciles things on earth and things in heaven. When God threw Satan out, some angels felt he was treated unfairly. And so they viewed God, I'm not sure he did right. Now, they didn't sin, but they had questions about God. In the Desire of Ages, Ellen White tells us it was only when Satan did what he did to Christ at Calvary that some angels finally decided he's no good. So for thousands of years, there were angels who were still sympathetic to Satan. Only when Calvary occurred did they finally decide this guy is no good. Can you imagine that? Sinless, powerful angels. And so God has been trying for thousands of years to handle the sin problem in such a way that the entire universe will be convinced we don't want sin. We want righteousness. When that happens and Christ comes, we will never choose sin again. Because we will show God now we're choosing righteousness, not sin. And so sin will never rise again. So our lives are to be lived to clear God of false accusations, not to strengthen Satan's accusations. It's more than me. The death of Christ secured angels. Whatever keeps me from sin on earth will keep angels from sin in heaven. The cross of Christ secured the universe. Not just this little world you can hardly see if you put it next to the sun. Sin was a universal problem. Sin didn't begin on the earth. Sin began in heaven. And so you have to understand, God raised up a special people to assist him in showing the universe that his law can be kept. What is that group? The Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Perfect. We are Seventh-day Adventist, and we should not lose our identity because we cannot just afford to lose who we are. So Ellen G. White writes clearly the following about Adventist or about the church. And we cannot afford to miss these. So I'm going to share with you 4 powerful statements Ellen G. White wrote about Adventist, about the SDA church, that we need not to miss. God has a distinct people, a church on earth, second to none, but superior to all in their facilities to teach the truth, to vindicate the law of God. My brother, if you are teaching that the Seventh-day Adventist Church is Babylon, you are wrong. So this is the first statement by Ellen G. White about the SDA Church or about Adventist. We are a distinct people called by God in this end time. We have superior message. We are second to none. That's great. Let's look at the second statement by Ellen White about the church. She says, the Lord has made us the depositories of his law. He has committed to us sacred and eternal truth, which is to be given to others in faithful warnings, reproofs, and encouragements. So this is another statement by Ellen White about Seventh-day Adventists. And should we lose sight of this? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Let's look at the third statement, the third powerful statement. She says, Seventh-day Adventists have been chosen by God as a peculiar people, separate from the world. By the great cleaver of truth, he has cut them out from the quarry of the world and brought them into connection with himself. He has made them his representatives and has called them to be ambassadors for him in the last work of salvation. The greatest wealth of truth ever entrusted to mortals, the most solemn and fearful warnings ever sent by God to man, have been committed to them to be given to the world. What a powerful statement about the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Like, are you not proud to be Adventist, to be part of the remnant church? Well, if you are not, I'm proud to be an Adventist, right? So if you are also proud to be an Adventist, proud to be God's chosen people, let me know that in the comments. So we need not to also forget this. We need not to forget who we are and the mission that God has given to us. If we forget them, friends, it means that we have failed or we're going to fail in our mission. So let's look at the last powerful statement about the church. In a special sense, Seventh-day Adventists have been set in the world as watchmen and light bearers. Watchmen and light bearers. So every single Seventh-day Adventist is a watchman and also a light bearer. But no, let me reserve this comment and let's continue. I'll come back and say it, okay? So let me start all over again, like with the last statement. In a special sense, Seventh-day Adventists have been set in the world as watchmen and light bearers. To them has been entrusted the last warning for the perishing world. On them is shining wonderful light from the Word of God. They have been given a work of the most solemn import, the proclamation of the first, second, and third angels' messages. There is no other work of so great importance. They are to allow nothing else to absorb their attention. Friends, this is so great and so true. But of course, we are seeing so many things happening in the church that probably are standing in between the mission of the church. But God is going to take care of his church. So in a nutshell, like what I want to communicate to you this day is that we should not forget who we are. We should not forget our mission. We should not forget the gifts that God has given us. Everything, the truth, everything that God has given us. You know, of course, there are so many Adventists in the church today that are already challenging some of our beliefs, that are already challenging Ellen White. But they are not going to win because error has never won. Always the truth wins. So let us not forget our identity, friends. And this is all that I had to share with you today. If you want to connect with me, you have my email address on your screen. That is my email address right there. You can connect with me. You can share events or things that are happening both within and outside of the SDA church with me right there. You can also talk with me through the email address. All right, that is message. So thank you for watching today's video. My name is Lawrence, if this is your first time here. But be sure to subscribe to this channel if you have not done that, because here on this channel, as you all know, we share and comment on events that you need to know.